Thank you so much for joining me. This is Tammy Morrison with Unleashing Your True Self with Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammy. I am so grateful that you are joining us today with my guest, Debbie McAllister. I just want you just to hear it from her, who she is, and what she's all about. Debbie, take it away.
Oh, Tammy, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, I am Debbie McAllister, like Tammy introduced me. So, I'm an intuitive business coach. So, I do that. I'm also a healer. That's why I use my clicky little word of intuitive business coach. But I work with women primarily, have been who resonates with my message. So right now, I work with women to help them connect with connecting with their money so that they can manifest the life that they want and get rid of the shame and the guilt of wanting more things to be able to make their dream come true. So, if you have more, then you can give more. So I also have a membership and my own podcast and called Light Up Your Worth. And the membership is really like a safe haven for people to go and explore spirituality. So I bring together different types of modalities, and so that's me. So I'm so excited to be here, Tammy.
I'm excited to have you. I really am. We've been talking about this thing for a minute, and we finally made time to be able to come on together. And I am so appreciative. So, when you look at the type of woman that you want to work with, what did she look like?
Oh, well, this woman is somebody who is coming from the heart centered intention of wanting to really make an impact and uplift people. So I primarily work with women who have overcome some of that stuff, right? Like some hard shit. And they've come through it. As they've come through it, they have found some type of healing modality, spirituality that comes through them. And that is part of their journey. And once they're on the other side of it, then they reach into themselves and they are now uplifting others. And that is who finds their way to me. And then we work together and they're off and they just step even further into their own, their own goddess, their own empowered woman. And so, um, yeah, all types and sizes and shapes and colors. And yeah, I got a rainbow crew.
That
So
is, that
I
is
love it,
always, that is
right?
always powerful. The
It
thing
is.
is when you were considering and you were thinking about this type of business, what made you just really say, okay, this is what I'm going to do? Was there a catalyst for you that helped you to move into this particular arena, or what happened?
So I started my spiritual journey, on after 9/11. I had been in the corporate world, right, and doing corporate travel and all over in high tech, and then I was in healthcare and coaching execs. And during this whole path, I felt like I was living like these two parallel lives, right? Like, here's my corporate person, here's my persona. Everybody knows I'm sensitive and everybody wants to talk and share and bounce things off. And I was a coach, a leadership coach out there, right? So for the last 20 years, I've been a coach. But in the corporate world, and what would happen is that as time was going by, they started to intersect, right? The two parts of myself. And so I I just was feeling called, or really, that's who just kept showing up was these women. And because I've gone through my own stories and have worked through my own stories and continually, right? I think we're always working through something. And and
Yeah.
whenever you get on the other side of something, you're like, oh, that's why I had that echo.
Yes.
That's why that happened, right? Like
Yes.
Steve Jobs says, you start connecting the dots backwards, right? And then,
Yes.
so I think it picked me. They picked me. And now, with all of my spiritual friends, like every time you do something, they're like, it's time, right? Like, got the message, like, are you done? Are you going to step on out? Step out, girl. Like, it's time. Like, you need to do this, right? Like, the world needs you. And I think in my world, 9/11, as hard as that was for everybody, it was my own spiritual awakening. And then I think last year was, it just upped the ante. And so this area is like, I know so many people have been awakened, and I thought, when you don't have anybody to talk to about what you're experiencing, I mean, where were you 20 years ago, Tammy, when I needed somebody to talk about something that was happening, right? Like, you feel different, you're different,
Yes, I
and you're doing everything you can to try to blend in, and I did a pretty good job of it,
yeah.
like, I was different, but, not too different, right? And so, yeah, so I think I really feel called to help. I want people to step out. I want them to be brave. And I don't want them to feel like they're alone, because they're not. We're everywhere.
We
I
are
say,
so similar in that.
yeah, like,
We are so similar in that because that is exactly one of the things that I put into my mission was that, I want people not to feel alone. And I think when I think about it in my case, it was based on the fact that I have felt alone for so long. There were so many times when, even in a room full of people, I felt like I was by myself. Nobody really understood me on that deeper level. There was always the surface people on the surface, and I can give a good surface talk. We can talk on the surface about nothing.
that's right. Right? It's all around us.
It's all around us. How's the weather? Oh, the weather's great. I have snow. What do you have?
Hmm.
But then but then when you want to go deeper, there's nobody a lot of times.
That's right. I was dating this guy, I don't know, 2006, 2007. And he told me, he goes, what's so interesting about you is you just go to the deep end of the pool. Like you just, like, you'd like live there. And I'm like, really? Like, it was when I started to realize, like, truly start to realize, like, how different and the same I was with people, right? Like, what do you mean? Don't you want to have that conversation? Don't you want to, like, doesn't everybody tell you their life story in the grocery store?
Yes.
Right? Like, and then you're
Talk
hugging
to you
them,
across your forehead.
right? Like,
Talk to
yeah,
me.
right? Right? Like, I had this thing just a couple of years ago, when we could travel, right? Like, I was coming back from, I don't know, I was on some type of trip, and I was sitting in a restaurant having a drink, eating some food in between a layover, and this girl come over and she's like, "Can I sit next to you? You just have this vibe." And I'm like, "Sit on down." And so we sat there and had a drink, and she worked on the cruise ships. Like, she had left someplace like Wisconsin, and she was now living on these cruise ships in, like, Hawaii area, right?
Right?
And, like, doing, I don't even know what she did there, but she says, I've raised my family, I'm out there, I'm doing what I want to do. And we started talking, and she gave me her earrings, these, like, uh, there were some kind of crystal stones, this purple, and she goes, "These will go really good with what you're wearing." And I don't even remember where we were going, but Dawn is her name. And man, we had that connection, and I'm like, you know, I want more Dawns in my life. I can remember her name. I have these beautiful earrings, and you just touch each other at that time. I had gone up to Salem, Oregon, and I was, because I in healthcare, went and did checking out the work that they did with performance improvement. And I'm on this trip, and it's all about all these lean geeks like me doing process improvement work. And I meet this guy named Edward, and he says, there's some reason I need to show you. And he puts in his hands in his pocket, and he brings out all these crystals. And I'm like, so let me tell you, I've been all over the U.S. looking at other hospitals and how they do these processes, and I was like, what? What are you doing here, my peep? right? So we end up talking, right? Like the whole time we were like inseparable. And and then I get on the plane to fly home and I meet this my other friend, Krista, right? Never knew her. We start talking and she's like, I don't know, and I knew everything about her. She knows everything about me and this guy that I just met, right? Like it was like I those are my peeps, right? Like how do we find each other? You know, Tammy, like we found each other, right? Like you're just like you feel at home with these people and you
Yes.
want you want what about that person? You know, I've lived out in rural areas, lived out in Wyoming, I've lived out in Idaho, and where you're like, okay, I know I'm different, but I'm really different here. And if I saying anything spiritual, like is somebody gonna get a shotgun and go tie me up someplace, right? Like it is, and you just felt so isolated,
Mm-hmm.
so isolated.
Yes.
And I don't, you know, we are not meant to be isolated. We are meant to have our hearts connected with people, or the people you go to give a hug and they barely touch you. You're like, I'm like a bear hugger. Like I want my heart to touch your heart.
I
Give me
tell
that
people
hug,
I'm a
right?
lover. I'm a
Oh,
lover.
yes.
I'm a lover. I'm like
Right.
I'm not, I try not to be a fighter, but I can be. But I'm more, I rather love, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, I rather love, and I feel like this. If I can't help you, I'm not gonna hurt you. It's just not in my nature, and but do you encounter people that um because I think we talked about, or maybe we didn't, um, about jealousy in this arena.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
have you
yeah.
encountered people that, because you know who you are
Hmm.
and you know what you want, have you encountered people that um, had this jealousy towards you because of that? And how did you deal with it?
So I had it kind of just actually pretty recently, and it was in the social media realm, and
Yeah.
I could feel it, right? Like I could
Uh-huh.
feel it in a post because
Yes.
like any empaths or healers, you
Yes.
feel this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, she's younger. She probably doesn't know. She doesn't know me. So I reached out. We talked, and now she's just adorable, right? Like, we're not in competition. There's plenty for all of us. How many millions? There's trillions of people on this earth. And how many of them need help? There's
Trillions.
plenty for all of us. Like I want,
Yes.
if
And
I'm not your person, if I'm not your person, I want you to find your person. And
I
I'm
can
going to
help
help,
you.
I'll help you connect with
Yes.
your person. I'm not going to
Yes.
go work with you too if I think, I don't know if I can help them, right? Like, and you might, you, you want them to find what they are. And I think that's why I created my podcast too, right? Just like you, Tammy, because we need people to know that they're not alone.
Yes. Yes.
We're not alone. And especially after last year, how many people feel alone? And they don't need to, right? There are communities and there's people and we can help them deal with their stuff, like my healing is dealing with some of the subconscious beliefs because if we have 70,000 thoughts in a day and 80 to 90, depending on whose data you read, right? Somewhere between 70, 80 to 90% of them, I don't know what the real number is, right? But is subconscious beliefs.
Yes.
And so I want to help people also, figure that out,
Right.
right? Like figure that out. So I had this really strange conversation with my mom, right? Like many, many years ago. And tonight, actually, when I was driving home, I was calling her because we have this little joke, it's the nanny call, like if you got 10 minutes, call, right? Because I'm so busy. But so I call her and I said, I was trying to explain to her about the DNA generational work. Like, what is that? Like, in a really practical way. And I said, Mom, remember, I finally had told her, maybe it was 10 years ago or something. Like, I had been having this reoccurring dream my whole life about being young and watching a bridge over a gorge fall and people plummeted it down and did not make it. Right? So I have been terrified of heights my whole life, and I don't even know where this came from. Right? That didn't happen to me. And I for some reason I was telling my mom this, and she's like, "I never told you about that. I've never told anybody about that." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I saw that as a small child."
Wow.
And I was like, "Mom, that's what generational DNA work will help you, because me working on me is going to help you heal, right?" And we got into this conversation about, I actually want to know the names of the seven generational back of people in my female line. And so I only know four. So now I'm going to go start looking this up, because the fourth one back was born in 1896. So we were having this talk about 1896, like she was alive when we got to vote. Like, how much trauma has did they experience, right? Like, and we get to help. I get to help people remove that, and I want to bring people, together. So my own healing, my own private clients, right, with coaching, the traditional coaching, because I do that, and the healing together, and you know, so it's never any competition. Right? Because we're all so different. You and I could do the same thing, be sitting next to each other, and somebody's going to walk right by me and go, "Oh, I want her."
You,
Right?
you know what's funny? That's exactly what Dr. Wright just said to me. He said, he said, there are many healers and there are many people that do what you do. He said, but none of them do them like you do it. He said, and the people that are attracted to you are attracted to you. You don't have to worry about, which I don't, not that type of person. I don't worry about that anyway. I'm like you. There's trillions of people out here. Trillions of people are hurting, have trauma, need help, need their chakras balanced or whatever, type of services that you do. Um, but we all do them in a different way. And this is the thing. It's like when you look at it like that, there's no competition. It's no competition. Because I hear people say, well, don't look at the competition. And my thing is, what I do, and when I look at other people, I don't even look at them as competition. I look at them as case studies. And I look at them as, possibly it might be something that they do that I want to, put into my processes, you know, or maybe, see how they do it and, how it works, because just like you're a sacred soul alignment practitioner, I'm a sacred soul alignment practitioner. Alicia's a sacred soul alignment practitioner, but we practice it differently. I am able to channel with the tongues. I have since I was probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, five maybe, but I've always been able to do it, but I did not know that's what I was doing. I had no idea. And so I do that, because I've done it. And I've learned a lot now in, this period of time when, we awakened and all that stuff. But, but I do it like that. And then somebody else does it in a different way, but we can all appreciate that we're all healers and that we're all helping to raise the vibrations in this world because damn sure they need raising.
Right, right. Like I was listening to something uh, this morning. I was listening to something about, the vibration of all of the emotions and
Yes.
how low, right? Like the vibration of love, the highest vibration. And for one person constantly being able to radiate love can heal, like it was millions of people. I can't remember the exact statistic. But then the lowest vibration, shame and guilt,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I love Renee's Brown's explanation of shame, right? It's like feeling like we've done something wrong.
Yes.
And sometimes we are made to feel like we've done something wrong, and maybe something was done wrong to us.
Yes.
And we need to get rid of that.
Yes.
need to help raise the consciousness of our planet and take away this, whatever it is that is holding people back, right? These old fears of, you know, that we can be spiritual and we can try. Like I've been in the spiritual world for 20 years, and I'm like, what's that? What's that? I want to go figure that out. And oh, I need to have that person come in into my membership, and I want to learn something about that, right? Like, and if you're new, right, maybe you've dabbled. I mean, we were talking about Reiki. I love Reiki. I'm a Reiki master. And, but it was really that first modality. And I think it's the most common modality
Yes.
because it's in hospitals now and it's
Yeah.
been,
It's when
with
people
after
know.
surgeries and
Yeah.
people know it, right? And
Hmm.
so you're like, okay, well, there's so much more. But we could also, I've studied all the same stuff, but I like to think about it as like, we're like crock pots,
Yes.
right? Like you're throwing in your carrots and your potatoes and your onions and your cilantro and I eat meat, so I'm throwing in some meat
Me too.
and your garlic and those are all these things and experiences, and you don't even know what the recipe is, but man, it tastes good.
Right. Exact. It's almost like I'm gonna bake a cake later, right? Because I like to bake. It's a part of my creative thing. And I like cake. And they're hard to find when they're good. And I know that I bake a damn mean pound cake.
Oof.
So I'm gonna bake, and I have all these different ingredients to put in. I've got the butter already sitting out, so it's room temperature. I got the eggs sitting out. I got the cream cheese and the sour cream, all of these things ready to put into this cake. But when you eat the cake, you're not going to taste the sour cream and the eggs and all that shit, right?
Yep.
What you're going to taste is the cake, the finished product,
What time is dessert? I'll be
right?
I'll be right over, right?
Come on,
I love
girl.
cake.
I'll put you some in the freezer. But yeah, but yeah, so that's one of the things I do. I bake because I like good food. And same thing, my husband was a chef, so we cook. And I'm from the South, so people always think I can cook, and I can. But so we cook a lot because a lot of times we want good food, and we know that we can make good food. Can't always buy it, right? And I think it's the same thing in this arena. It's the same thing. It's like you can go over here and you can get a Reiki treatment, right? And that helps and it works. But I've had a prana treatment that was fucking amazing. I mean, the girl was in California and I was in Arizona. And she did the treatment on me, and I promise you, I felt that girl's hands in my body. And that was the first time I had ever felt anything like that. you know? And so that was a different thing, right? And then I had a theta treatment because I did that course as well. And I think I even had sacred soul alignment treatments, with Alicia when she's done her things. And then I think I did a trade with somebody, I can't even remember who it was. But yeah, so we've all had these things. They're all doing the same thing, but in different ways, right? They're all working with energy. So I'm super excited
Oh,
about that.
and look, like it looked like I was yawning, right? I'm not yawning.
You're processing the
Like
energy.
like there was just a lot of energy that just came up and through, right? Healing breath
Yes,
modality, right?
yes.
Like, and people, people just have to do like if they it's like when you're looking at the corner of your eye and it's a little blurry, and then you just know, right? Like this intuition it's real. It's just that we've gone and studied it and tried different ways of how it has been brought into the world
Yes.
through different people, different
Hmm.
vehicles of the people, and different healing modalities. And they're all so powerful and they all work together, and I'm telling you, there's just so much goodness, and it's all from this beautiful, beautiful energy
Yes.
of the divine, I believe, and
Yes.
I was raised in the church, and so coming out, not only have I come out, I am way out now, right? And I was telling some people, I'm like, oh yeah, we're supportive, and I thought, okay, just wait till you start talking, when you start listening to my, like I just had a womb healer on my, on my podcast. I've had a channeler too, and she doesn't do tongues, but man, when they dropped in, oh man, like it was just amazing. And then
Yes.
I had somebody who was talking to me, and when I've learned more about my doshas, from our Ivana medicine. I always struggle with that word, and it's just beautiful, right? Like we're all so different, and yet there's
We're
no
the
need to
same.
compete, right? Like
Yes.
like our I believe I had a reading with this gal who I love for my artistic, wait, I'm pronouncing it wrong, the records.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Akashic.
Akashic, sorry.
Yes.
So pronunciation is my weak point. So can you tell I used to get teased growing up,
It's
right?
okay.
Even adults, right? They feel the need to, and it's like, I didn't give you permission to correct me. Now, if I give you permission, you can't. Like, I gave you permission. Help me here, help me, friend. Like, and so I had this reading right when I was launching, and I wanted to connect with like, what do I need to do for my soulmate clients to find me? And she tells me, she goes, "Oh, they're just waiting for you to step out
I was gonna say you just need to be visible. They just need to see you.
and see, right? Like, oh yeah, ugh, and you
And you
you
know what else too? Bring your stories forth. That's what I'm feeling for you. Bring your stories. Because you know what I'm learning? People connect with the stories. And you're like me. You're a storyteller. You can tell the stories.
oh, girl, I can talk all day,
Exactly.
right?
I,
Like,
I laugh. I said,
uh,
here we are. Okay, so we're gonna have to go.
uh,
Um, so what I want you to do is let the people know where to find you, where they can find you online, social media, your website, whatever you want to share. That will also be in the description of the video and the audio. So Debbie's gonna share where you can find her if you are ready to connect with her, because I'm sure that you are. So she's gonna let you know, give her details, and then
yep.
we're gonna pop on off here.
All right. Well, thanks, Tammy. So you can find me on IG is where I'm really visible, on Light Up Your Worth, and then I'm on Facebook. I have a group that's for women only, and that is the Intuitive Diva Society.
Did it used to be another name?
It did. It
Okay.
did, and I changed it.
That's
Because,
how I knew, because I
what
think I remember getting the notification that the name was
it
changed.
did,
And I
I
was
did.
like,
I had another thing because I kept getting the same people, and I'm like, I think this is like, that was that nudge, right? Like that God nudge of, girl, when are you going to step out? Come on, get going. And then, you have to pivot, right? The word of
absolutely.
2020 was pivot, right?
Yes, yes,
Sometimes you're like, please don't say that word again. But
yes.
here I'm saying it, right? I had to
And here
pivot.
we are. And here
Pivot,
we
pivot.
are.
That's right, right? Pivoting. So, but thank you so much, Tammy. This
I'm
is just so sweet.
I was going to say this has been amazing. I wish we didn't have to cut it off, but we're going to cut it off today. And I'm so appreciative that you have decided to listen and join us here. This has been so much fun. And as if you watch me at any time, you know that fun is, the top of the game for me, because I truly enjoy just talking to people and hearing their stories and listening to, how they came about to be who they are. And so this has been another episode that doesn't disappoint. So, again, thank y'all for watching. I appreciate you. Continue to check us out. Make sure that you reach out and connect with Debbie, because she has some amazing things that she is doing coming up in 2021. So, connect with her, and I will talk with you later, and I'll see you another time. Bye. Oh, she's got her baby.